Welcome to this video, which is about area. Now, you will have heard this word many times in your schooling career so far, and very often teachers teach area at the same time as perimeter. I don't think that's a very good idea. I think they should be taught separately initially and then together later. But one of the things I often do when I start this section is to say to my students, what does the word area mean? And I very, very seldom get a satisfactory answer, almost never. So this is a bit of rote learning. You've got to just remember it. Practice it, find some way of remembering it. But area is the amount of flat surface, or how much flat surface. Very often I ask students, after I've taught them this, and they know what area is, I say to them, okay guys, what is flat surface? And they say, oh, it's the space. And the minute that word space comes up, it's wrong. Area is not about space. Area is about how much flat surface you have. Let's explore these shapes here. They have different surface areas. They actually look quite similar. They look as though they cover very similar surfaces, flat surfaces. And we can use squares to help us. They've been drawn on a grid. If you look at this one here, it has one square there, one square there. That's not a whole square, but if I take this piece and put those two together, it'll give me another square. If I take that one and put them together, it'll give me another square. So altogether, 1, 2, 3, 4 squares. So the area of this shape is 4 squares. Come down to this triangle. I've got 1, 2, 3 there. That's a half, and that's a half. If I put them together, that gives me another one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, and a half, 4 and a half. It's slightly bigger than that shape. And then we have a look at the circle, and the circles are very often, they have bigger areas than we think they have. Have a look at this. Well, we've got one in the middle. That's not a whole square, but it's very close. And that's not a whole square, but it's very close. And that's not a whole square, but it really is close, and that's the same there. That's bigger than a half. That's bigger than a half. And so are those two. So what I could do is I could say, I'll put that one together with that one and make, well, both of them are bigger than a half. So it'll make a whole square and have a bit left that I could stick in over here. And that one plus that one would give me a whole square and a bit more, which I could stick in over there. So we've probably got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, those two together, 7, more than 7 squares there. So that was 4, 4 and a half, and 7 there. So whenever you think of area, think of carpeting. When you've got to put carpets on the floor, you're working with a flat surface. You're working with area. Look at that shape there. What is its area? Now, very quickly, if you count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 squares. That one, 10 squares. That one, 'Well, if you counted them, you would have found there are 24. There is a quicker way of doing it. That one will show you what's the area of that shape. 4 squares. Now, some areas are not that easy to work out. If you have a shape like that, or a shape like that, or like that, to work out how much flat surface they have, it can be tricky. It can be done, but we don't need to be able to do that at this level. Those shapes there can also be a little bit tricky, but they're not really that tricky, particularly triangles. You could probably very easily work out the area of a triangle once you know how to work out the area of a rectangle. Circles also aren't that difficult. There's just certain information I would need to give you. But for now, we are focusing on something else. Now, we need to understand we can't just use squares, because what's the area of the shape here? Well, it's 4 squares. What's the area of this shape? 4 squares. Do these two shapes have the same flat surface? No way. What is the problem? Well, that distance there is not the same as that distance there. So we need to come up with some measurement so that we can compare areas properly. So what we do is we imagine a square. It's 1 centimeter wide and 1 centimeter long. It has a name. It's called 1 square centimeter. And that is our unit of area for this video, square centimeter. It's not the standard unit. The standard unit is a square meter, but for us to understand area, square centimeters are really good size. So if we look at that shape, it is 2 centimeters wide and 2 centimeters long. It has an area of 4 square centimeters. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's look at these shapes and let's see if you can work them out. If you need some time to think, just pause the video and then continue. Now, the first one here, it's 5 centimeters long, it's 2 centimeters wide. And the area would be 10 square centimeters. Now, if you give the answer and you say it's 10 centimeters, you're wrong. You must say 10 square centimeters. Let's go across to that one. It's 3 centimeters wide and 4 centimeters long. And if you want to count them, you can. But there's a quicker way, and I'm hoping you're spotting it. The answer is 12 square centimeters. Now, as we move on to the next one, can you see I'm telling you that that's a centimeter, and now I'm telling you that that's a centimeter, and that's wrong. Those two aren't the same. But diagrams aren't always to the same scale. So this diagram is to one scale, that diagram is to another scale. So if I give you a diagram like this and I say to you, that's 6 centimeters, don't say, oh, it can't be. It's just to a different scale. Right, so that is 6 centimeters that way and 4 centimeters that way. You can go and count them if you like, or else you can do the quick method that I'm hoping you will spot. 24 square centimeters. Right, and that one, of course, is very easy. What is the area of that shape there? 4 square centimeters. Okay, at any stage, if you think you need some time to think, just pause the video whenever I ask a question, and then think about it or write your answer down, and then continue. Now, calculate the area of this shape. "14 square centimeters." Pause if you need to. "32 square centimeters." 8 times 4. I hope you spotted that. Calculate that one. If you know your tables, really easy. 56 square centimeters. What area of this shape is red? Well, that's easy. You can count them, or you can just go 4 times 2, which is 8 square centimeters. What area of the shape is blue? Well, it's an L shape. L shapes are tricky, so I'm going to pretend that that piece isn't there. And I'm only going to look at this shape here now, this blue part here. Well, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 centimeters high. 1, 2, 3, 4 there. So 6 times 4, that's 24 square centimeters. Now, I'm going to ignore that, and I'm going to look at this. That's 3 times 2 is 6. Okay. So I had 24, and I've got 6 there, and if I put them together, 30 square centimeters. Right, what's the area of that? Well, what you can see now is that the grids have disappeared. Shouldn't be a problem though. If you need to think, just pause the video. Answer is 70 square centimeters. 10 times 7. Right, again, pause if you need to think about it. 42 square centimeters. And that one, again, pause if you need to. 12 square centimeters. And again, pause if you need to. What is the area of that shape? 9 square centimeters. Now, if you didn't get that, don't carry on. Go back to the start of the video and repeat the first section. This is not really difficult. It just involves breaking shapes up into smaller shapes. So I've said, what is the area of this shape? This shape here. And there's a whole lot of measurements you've been given. Now, one of the things we can do is break that shape up into a smaller shape there and this one, because that would be easy and that would be easy. I could break it up that way, or I could break it up 3 ways, and then I could work out that area, and that area, and add them together, but that's too much. So I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to imagine that this shape has been chopped up into a rectangle over here, and that looks like a square there, is it? 4, 4, yes it is. Right. If that is 4 centimeters and that's 4 centimeters, that square is 16 square centimeters. Now I'm going to have a look at this shape here. Now I have to work this out if I don't have that distance there, but it tells me from there all the way to there is 8, and I know from there to there is 4. That means that must be 4 as well. So let's do this shape. There we go, 32 square centimeters. Now I need to put that together. And there it is, 48 square centimeters. So that was an example of using, can you see, we just break things up into squares and rectangles. We don't have a way of doing L shapes easily. We need to look at them as 2 separate shapes. Okay, have a look at this one, think about it, pause the video rather than just rush ahead. See how we could calculate the area of this shape, and then when you're ready, just carry on. Okay. Now the first thing I'm going to do is, I don't have the length of that side there or that side. I'm going to work them out. I know the distance all the way from there to there, which means it must be the same from there to there. And I know how much that one is. So this one plus that one must give me 9. And there it is. And the same with this. This one and that one must give me that. Okay, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to chop the L shape up into a long rectangle, and I think that looks like it may just be a square. No, it's not. Now, notice it looks like a square, but I'm told that's 3 and that's 2. If you get a problem like that, it's fine. Don't go to the person who wrote the book and say, you didn't draw your picture properly. If he says it's 3 and 2, or she says it's 3 and 2, it's 3 and 2. Right, here we go. Let's do the big one first. 9 times 3, 27 square centimeters. All right, you see, we're just ignoring this. Now, guess what? We're going to do that. 6 square centimeters. So we just need to add the area, the flat surface of that shape, flat surface of that shape, and we end up with that. Okay, what is the area of the green surface? Now, again, don't just rush ahead. If you want to pause the video, think about it for a bit. But think about this as a room that you have to carpet. You're looking down on it. You've got to put the green carpet down, but you don't have to put carpet on the red area. Now, you could start chopping it up into rectangles like that. Now you've got that rectangle and that rectangle and that rectangle, and that's just too hard. Now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 rectangles we've got to work out. Can you see there's a way easier way of doing this? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work out the area of the whole room. I'm going to ignore this for the moment. See, I'm just ignoring that. And I'm going to work out the area of the whole room. And that's really easy, as you can see. It's 150 square centimeters. 10 times 15. Now, I'm going to focus only on the red area. And that is 32 square centimeters. So what do we need to do now? Well, we know how much the outside is. It's 100. The bigger area, it's 150 square centimeters. I don't have to carpet that. I've been asked only about the green, so I need to take this away. So it's 150 minus 32. 118 square centimeters. Now, all we're really doing is working with the areas of squares and rectangles. Now, at this point, there are some things for you to try and work at on your own. I'm going to suggest that if you found any of that confusing, don't go any further. Watch it again. And pause the video whenever you need to. Also, before you start doing this, you might need some pencil and paper. You might want to go and have a glass of water or something to eat so that you can concentrate. There are only 10 questions, and they're not that hard. But this will really test your knowledge, and you can always go back and watch again. So pause now, get yourself ready, and then we'll start. Right, here's question 1. What does the word area mean? Pause the video if you need to, write down your answer or get it in your head. It's the amount of flat surface, or how much flat surface. You need the words flat surface somewhere in your answer. If you had the word space, you have got it wrong. Calculate the area of this shape. Okay, pause the video, and when you are ready, just continue. Answer 40 square centimeters. If you put 40 centimeters, not good enough. If you just put 40, not good enough. You must have 40 square centimeters. Notice I don't say centimeters squared. Question 3, what is the area of that shape? Pause the video and carry on when you are ready. Right, 40 square centimeters. Question 4, calculate the area of that shape. So pause the video and continue when you're ready. Right, 50 times 20, 1000 square centimeters. Calculate the area of that shape. Right, pause and continue when you're ready. Right now, hopefully you wouldn't have needed to use a calculator. If you know 25s are nice, because if you put 4 25s together, you get 100. You put 2 25s together, you get 50. So you could say, well, 4 of the 25s, I've got 7 of them, would give me 100. And another 2 would give me 50, and another one would give me another 25. That would give me 175 square centimeters. Right, calculate the area of this shape. Don't rush through it. Rather pause, take your time, make sure that you understand what you're doing. Right, here we go. First thing I do is work out this, how long the other sides are. You can see we didn't know how long that one was and how long that one was. We may need it. If that's 10 from there to there, and that's 5 from there to there, so that means it's 5 from there to there, that must also be 5. If that's 20 from there to there, it must be 20 from there to there too. And if that's 15, that must be 5. So we know that both of those sides there that we couldn't see are 5. And the answer is 125 square centimeters. The way I would have done that is I would have done this little square here. 5 times 5 is 25. I would have done this long rectangle. 5 times 20 is 100. Put them together, you get 125 square centimeters. Okay, calculate the area of the green surface. This will remind you of one we did earlier. Pause the video and then when you are ready to check your answer, continue. Right, what I'm going to do, like I did in the previous one, is I'm going to ignore that cutout in the middle because we've been asked for the green surface, right? The area of the green surface. We don't want this black in the middle, we're going to cut it out. So I'm just going to pretend that I'm not cutting it out, I'm going to work the whole thing out. Right, so if I was working out that whole big rectangle, it would be 72 square centimeters, 12 times 6. So the whole thing, the big one on the outside, if I didn't have the cutout, is 72 square centimeters. Now I'm going to have a look at that piece I'm going to cut out in the middle. It's 10 centimeters that way, and it's 5 centimeters that way. So that's 50 square centimeters. Now, remember we said that was 72 square centimeters. That is 50, so we need to take the 50 away from the 72. That 50 square centimeters taken away means that this little green area around the outside is 22 square centimeters. Question 8. Okay, this is like a U shape, sort of. Now, we could divide it up again. This shape there, it's not a square, even though it looks like a square, because it's 2.5 by 3. So we'd have a square and a rectangle, another rectangle. Again, I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do here is I am going to calculate the area of the whole thing and then the area of this cutout and work it out from there. So if you need to pause the video, do that now. Do your calculations and then carry on. Yeah, so there I go. I'm going to ignore the cutout. I'm going to do the whole room. Looking down on this room, it's 10 meters long, 6 meters wide. I'm going to pretend that I'm carpeting the whole room, which means that I will be using extra carpet, but that's okay. We'll cut it out later. Then I'm going to look at this blue area, work out what that area is, and then I'm going to take it away. Right, so let's look at the big room. It's 6 meters by 6 centimeters by 10 centimeters, so it's 60 square centimeters. Now let's look at this little blue piece. What do I know? I know that's 3 centimeters because I've been told. I don't know how much that is, and I need it. Fortunately, I do know from there all the way to there is 10 centimeters. So that's 5 centimeters. 6, 7.5. That's 7.5, which means that that little piece over here is also 2.5, because 7.5 plus 2.5 would give me the 10. So now I need to work out the area. I know it's 3 centimeters by 2.5 centimeters. Well, what's 3 times 2.5? You could just add them up. 2.5 plus 2.5 is 5, plus another 2.5 is 7.5 square centimeters. That little piece over there. So the whole area was 60 square centimeters. Take away the 7.5 square centimeters, and I end up with 52.5 square centimeters. Calculate the area of this shape. This shouldn't take you too long. Pause the video and continue when you're ready. 12,000 square centimeters. We've come to the last one. Again, pause the video, don't rush. It says use the clues below to calculate the area of the shape. Now you can't see the shape, but they've told you clue 1, it's a square. Clue 2, the length around the outside of the shape is 20 centimeters. Use those clues to calculate the area. Now don't rush and don't try and do things in your head. Use a piece of paper, draw a shape, and see how you go. Continue when you're ready. Right, I'm going to use clue 1. It's a square. There it is. And that's going to help. The next clue, the distance around the outside is 20 centimeters. Okay, so if I start there and I go to there, and then I go to there, and then I go there, and I go there, it's 20 centimeters. The other thing I know about a square is the length of that side, and that side, and that side, and that side are the same. So we've got 4 sides must be the same, and they must add up to 20 centimeters. That means each side is 5 centimeters. Well, there we go. We don't need all of those there. We know it's 5 centimeters high, 5 centimeters wide. So the area is 25 square centimeters. Now, the whole point of these videos is that if you learned a bit but you want to learn more, you can watch it again. If you made a lot of mistakes, watch it again. If you did really well but you want to really make sure that you never forget it, watch it again. And remember, area is the amount of flat surface. It is not the amount of space.